For nearly 3 years, the third Sunday of every month was set aside for my husband's father. That was how he described it. He would get up before me, move carefully through the house so as not to wake me, and leave with the same worn duffel bag he'd carried since before we got together. Nothing packed too heavily. A paperback, sometimes a jacket, once a thermos of homemade soup he said was for him. The food they serve there is awful, he mentioned once. It never felt suspicious, just a quiet sadness, handled without much fuss. His father lived in a care facility roughly 45 minutes from us. I knew the general area but had never gone myself. Early on, I asked if I could come with him one day. He didn't say no directly, he just explained. His father didn't do well around unfamiliar faces. Another time he added that the place itself was hard to be in. Residents shuffling the corridors, televisions blaring at all hours, the sharp smell of cleaning products and reheated food. I understood. My own grandfather had spent his last years somewhere similar. After that, I stopped bringing it up. When he came home from those visits, he wasn't visibly affected. Not relieved, not drained, just a little withdrawn for a few hours. Then things would return to normal. I imagined an old man in a simple room, someone who recognized his son some days and not others. It was easier to picture something peaceful than to ask harder questions. The afternoon his father showed up at our door was completely ordinary. Dishes in the sink, a half-finished shopping list on the counter, that flat gray light that comes in late winter and makes everything look slightly washed out. When the doorbell rang, I expected a delivery. Instead, an older man stood on the step, holding a canvas bag carefully with both hands. Not frail, but worn down in the way people look after a longer journey than expected. "Does James live here?" he asked. "James is my husband." "Good," he said quietly. His whole posture shifted slightly, the tension going out of his shoulders. "I'm his father." For a moment, I assumed something had happened at the care home. "Of course," I said quickly. "Please come in." He moved slowly through the hallway, looking around with a kind of careful curiosity, not like someone returning somewhere familiar. I made coffee because I didn't know what else to do. He sat at the kitchen table, both hands around the mug. "I hope this wasn't too forward," he said. "I had to take a bus and then a train." "Did the staff know you were leaving?" I asked carefully. He looked at me, confused. "What staff?" I assumed I'd misunderstood. "The care facility," I said gently. His confusion didn't clear, it deepened. "I don't live in a care facility." I told myself it must be the memory loss James had mentioned. I kept my voice even. "James visits you every month," I said. His face didn't shift toward recognition. It shifted toward something much quieter. "No," he said after a pause. "He doesn't." The kitchen went very still. I waited for the moment when the pieces would fall back into place. It didn't come. "The last time I saw James," he said slowly, "was before I moved into my new building, a small seniors complex, not a care home. That was about 3 years ago." He seemed almost embarrassed saying it, like someone who had lost count of something and couldn't be completely sure. I kept waiting for him to come by. At first, I thought he just needed time. Eventually, I stopped expecting it. His fingers moved slowly around the rim of his mug. When James came home that evening, he stopped at the entrance to the living room. His father was sitting on the couch, not confronting him, just there, present in the room in a way that couldn't be explained away. His face brightened when he saw James. "There you are," he said simply. "I found the place all right." James didn't speak immediately. His eyes moved from his father to me. The quiet between us stretched long enough to feel like something solid. "You told me you were visiting him," I said. He didn't deny it straight away. His explanation came out in pieces. Scheduling problems, miscommunication, things falling through. But ordinary questions have a way of wearing down small lies very quickly. "What facility?" his father asked again, without any edge to it. James rubbed the back of his neck. "There isn't one," his father said simply. Eventually, the truth came out. Not in a single moment, just gradually. because both of us were sitting right there. He had told me he visited his father every month. He had told his father that work kept getting in the way. The monthly trips were real. They just never went anywhere near his father. At first, I thought there had to be something else, another life somewhere, some secret I hadn't found yet. But there wasn't. I just couldn't make myself go, he said finally. Why? Seeing him getting older, watching him slow down, the smell of those buildings, the feeling of time running out. It felt simpler, he said quietly, to say he was going than to actually go. His father listened the whole time without interrupting. What unsettled me wasn't the reason itself. It was understanding that he had been holding two completely separate versions of events for 3 years. One where he was a devoted son, one where he simply hadn't shown up. His father set down his mug, and then he said something neither of us had seen coming. Well, he said in a matter-of-fact tone, now that I know the address, that takes care of one thing. James looked up. I don't think that building suits me anymore. If my son is right here in the city, I'd rather find somewhere I can actually see him. It wasn't an ultimatum. It was just the most practical thing said all evening. The following weeks reorganized themselves around new arrangements, finding a place closer to us, sorting out appointments, actual visits with a real schedule. James started making the drive across town twice a week, not because he said he did, because now there were people who could see whether he did or not. Our marriage didn't fall apart. No shouting, no ultimatums, no single breaking point. But something delicate settled into the gap between us. Not the absence of trust exactly, just trust with some of the weight taken out of it, like a piece of cloth rubbed softly in the same spot, over and over, until you can almost see through it. What stayed with me wasn't the lie itself. It was how seamlessly it had fit inside our daily life. How one monthly absence had been enough to hold the whole thing up, and how the truth, after 3 years of quietly waiting, had finally made its way to us the same way most truths do, by ringing the doorbell.